what more could you want? But if I'd have to choose something a little more unique, it would have to be the adorable Erythmohippus. It convergently evolved similar morphological characteristics as a platypus, which by association allows it to osmose some of its cultural status as the most bizarre creature alive. That aside, I'm a third-year sustainability and environmental management student with a keen passion for the natural world, working towards a career in forest restoration and conservation. The factor that draws me the most to paleontology is the fantasy element behind it. So many children are obsessed with dinosaurs for a very good reason. They represent a bizarre menagerie of monsters that existed on the very same planet we walk on. Why on earth is this fascination largely restricted to a child's hobby and not something that people of all different walks of life carry into adulthood? I find that paleontology is an underrepresented topic in the public eye, and that greater effort should be made to make it more accessible to the general public. The mainstream spotlight tends to shine on the wildlife that exists today, which is by no means a bad thing. There's a vast and popular selection of nature documentaries, books, etc., that showcase the fantastic floral and faunic variations, and they draw on such a magical thing. The elegance of the lyrebird, the whimsy of the flying lizards, the comical bizarreness of the ocean sunfish. But this is the Anthropocene. 59% of mammal biomass is rearing livestock. There's no magic to that. The remaining wild animals are a fraction of what they used to be. There's hardly any megafauna outside of Africa, and habitat loss means that species of all lineages are going extinct 1,000 times faster than the natural background rate. Societally, we don't value animals enough. We position ourselves above them. Their aesthetics are somewhat revered, but we're too self-indulgent in our own busy and bounded lives, so we overlook the equally valid lives of animals and plants, thereby uprooting their relationships, their ecology. In our contemporary capitalist economy, respecting nature doesn't pay bills as much as extracting from it. Yet we must. Ecosystem services uphold our extractive supply chains, and eventually the burden of externalizing this cost will catch up with us through exponentially worse climate disasters. There we go. I propose that mainstreaming paleontology serves as a gateway towards appreciating the life on our planet. This summer I spent a month and a half on a reforestation project in the Eastern Arc Mountains in Tanzania, a global biodiversity hotspot where you can find as much diversity in plant life in a single hectare as you can in whole European countries. The magnitude of this fact was made evident to me through the reaction of the botanists I followed on a daily expedition into the rainforest. What may seem like a generic regular plant to the untrained eye, instead to him represented such a fantastic find, enough to get him hollering into ecstasy, though maybe that's also because he's an Italiano. This is all to say that when you have knowledge of a certain topic area, say ecology, cloud formations, even architecture, you start to appreciate the world around you with a newfound childlike sense of awe. This all can be a significant driver for promoting environmental stewardship. As people develop an eye for wildlife, they realize just how little of it remains in our degraded modern world, and hopefully be inspired to change this. Spreading this knowledge represents a reversal of the shifting baseline effect, whereby generation upon generation recalibrates to a degraded level of nature. Linguistic evidence backs this up. Nature-related words like river, blossom, or goldfinch have become less prominent in English fiction books and popular song lyrics since the Industrial Revolution. In visual media also, fewer Disney movies are depicting outdoor settings, and fewer children's books are describing natural environments while man-made backdrops become the norm. Artists, writers, and filmmakers are describing the world around them, and the world is becoming increasingly urbanized. We are culturally detaching ourselves from the natural world which we intrinsically depend on. Paleontology represents a way to foster this appreciation of life. The vast catalogues of past iterations of life can be made available easily through digital media or natural history museums commonplace in most large cities. Paleontology represents the context behind the life we see today, reframing it as the peak on the pinnacle of Mount Evolution. Mount Evolution is gargantuan, and is held up by conglomerate forms that bear homologous parities with their representatives we see today, regardless of whether or not they came from the same genetic stock. The guiding hand of evolution deserves an insurmountable amount of veneration, and this veneration is to be channeled into caring for our interspecies brethren. I believe that fantasy media, Pokemon, Star Wars, D&D, Zelda, should act as gateways to the disciplines of paleontology and subsequently biology, ecology, and sustainability. They draw upon the same sense of fascination, but what better and more productive fascination is there than one rooted in reality? So when the next fantasy enthusiast stumbles across the paleo pipeline and learns to love and appreciate the absurd morphological variations of archosaurs in the early Triassic or other radiation events, and follows the story up until the present day, they can realize just how evolutionary fantastic your average tree pigeon is. It will be reframed from a pestering skyrat to a fusiform, feather-bearing trailblazer of the Ave class, one of the only 3 vertebrate lineages ever to take to the skies, an artisan craft of the feather, whose material properties include a carbon fiber rivaling strength to weight ratio, easy zipping damage repair, passive aeroelastic control, nanostructural pigmentless color, turbulent shredding, acoustic stealth that modern science still just cannot replicate. Oh, and they're metabolically dead, so they can just be damaged without consequence to the organisms, just getting shed and regrown. At the moment, the main franchises that capitalize that was the feather, and I'm also thinking for pigeons, my bad. At the moment, the main franchises that capitalize this past menagerie of life are things like Jurassic Park, which bestow dinosaurs with one-dimensional role as big scary, which largely bestow dinosaurs with a one-dimensional role as big scary beasts. This villainization of such socially complex creatures is a terrible disservice, and this disservice can be found throughout. Countless times I have been on Wikipedia deep dives and prehistoric taxa, only to find that there are literally no depictions of entire families. So we owe illustrators like Dmitry Bogdanov and Nobu Tamura, who I'm sure we've all come across many times before, a whole awful lot of praise, and must encourage more artists to pick up their pens and bring to life animals and plants of eons past. I'm a huge idealist, and in my ideal world, people can tune into their Instagram or YouTube feed, type in exactly what they want to do with their minute of spare time, say paleontology or ecology, and be presented with a high-definition, state-of-the-art, hand-drawn animation featuring paleohabitats of eons past, which we can do with great accuracy, seeing how behavioral patterns often repeat each other. It can also be a space of creativity. So much of dinosaur reconstruction, be it colors or unique behaviors, are up for interpretation. This is why I like speculative evolution so much, and I highly recommend anyone who hasn't indulged in the mad scientist, creative visionary C.M. Kozeman to seriously check his work out. I mean, absurd, it's fantastic. Lastly, paleontology shines light on the gravity of extinction. The epoch generational death toll demonstrates how fragile life really is, which should make us more cautious about allowing the precious life that we have to perish. Until very recently, our planet was seen as an immutable constant, a bounty of resources that we could just keep extracting from without consequences, since it was just so much bigger than us. In the same vein, extinction was an unthought of phenomenon. Carl Linnaeus, father of modern taxonomy, believed all animals had existed for time immemorial. The concept that entire ecosystems could simply stop existing was unheard of in 17th century Europe. And this mentality still lives on today across many people with an untrained eye for the natural world. Only by raising awareness about the marvels of Mother Earth can we dismantle this fallacy of permanence, recognize our place within deep time, realizing we are creating the 6th mass extinction, and be compelled to act with humility and responsibility to protect the fragile life that remains. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions before we wrap?